What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, it's an exciting night. It's late on a Tuesday. My internet sucks today, but at the same time, I gotta get this video out to you if it uploads because Balin and Shin from Ahsoka are here in Hot Toys form, and we have been waiting for these guys to be announced. I know so many of us have been. And of course, I gotta get your thoughts on it because this is gonna be my genuine reactions. The first time I'm getting a chance to actually flip through these photos and see what these characters are going to look like in our collections, in our displays. So guys, stick around if you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
I give you Ben Thomas Showtime. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. So guys, we have two figures that we have been waiting for, and it's of course Baylan Skull and Shin Hati. Now, this is from Ahsoka, the television show, Disney Plus, of course, Star Wars content, but Hot Toys hasn't really given us much of an indication that either of these guys were coming. And while the Ahsoka line has been pretty deep, considering, you know, not quite as deep as Mandalorian, but I feel like has some crazy potential, we've all been wondering, where's Balin and Shin? I mean, they were some of the best characters, if not people's favorite characters of the Ahsoka show, considering it was a show about Ahsoka. Now, for me, that is the case. I really enjoyed these two in the show. With Balin here, first of all, we're going to look at both figures in this video, guys, so stick around for both. But I have to give you my thoughts here on Balin first, because he popped up first. Love the fact that they gave us a beard that's sculpted and the sculpted hair. I do think that having rooting on this short of hair would have been very, very difficult for them to do and pull off nicely. I don't think it was needed. I like that you get the detailing of his styling in the hair. I think that looks really good, and the beard looks really, really good. There have been other beards, kind of like, you know, when I think about Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example, his kind of first iteration that we saw, and it looked like he had kind of a swollen bee face. I'm not getting that with this. This looks like a pretty legit beard. Now, the armor here looks really, really good. I'm liking the armor plating. I really like the green and kind of the teal that you see kind of within the outfit. I think they've got this body padded up a little bit, but he definitely has some of that size presence that Ray Stevenson had in the show. And of course, rest in peace to Ray Stevenson, because in my opinion, he brought magic to this role. He really did. He had that gravitas that I feel like I haven't felt in Star Wars in a little while. He was ominous, yet mysterious. He was scary, yet kind and stoic. And I really thought he was kind of an enigma when it came to, at first, what his motivations were. And those motivations, while they were rooted in terms of mercenary style actions, I also kind of understood why he wasn't necessarily on the dark side and not necessarily on the light side, somewhere in between. Now, I think this has got to be the first figure we've ever seen with an orange lightsaber, at least from my recollection. So that's kind of cool, just as a first saber in the collection. Really like the hilt on this particular saber. I do think that they detailed this super well in terms of the costume. Like, to me, they nailed this aspect of it. I really like that pitting. Almost looks like a turtle shell on his arm there on his shoulder, but that looks really nice. I also like that the padding or the armor plating under that section is actually strapped on as opposed to just velcroed on. I think in terms of posability, you'll see those pop off a little bit less. This picture does make me laugh a little bit because I do see the left eye looks a little bit wonky, but this has that PERS rolling eye system, which I appreciate. So unfortunately, I think they just went a little too far on the PERS on that one eye. Clearly that will be able to be straightened out in your collection. I'm confident of it. I do wonder how the gauntlets will work with those hands. I know in other Star Wars figures, for me anyways, I've had one hell of a time with the hand just popping off whenever you try and pose it. This also, I'm curious if they'll be able to get it much higher than kind of how he's got, because in the show there's a scene where he's like holding it kind of like this, his lightsaber, and it's a little bit higher up on the arm. So I wonder if that armor plating will restrict some of that dynamic posing, let's call it, but still, either way. Now, the likeness here to Ray Stevenson is phenomenal. I really think so. The crow's feet around his eyes, really good. Look at the bags under his eyes. Now, we know Hot Toys traditionally does older male sculpts, especially, pretty well, and I am not disappointed by this at all, I have to say. In fact, I can feel my wallet burning in my pocket at the moment, because with this and the announcement of Shin at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I want so many things. But if I was gonna really get anything from the Ahsoka series, it would be these two characters. I see the life behind his eyes, which again is sad when you think about the character and the person who portrayed him. For me, I don't really want to see them recast this character. I know that Dave Filoni had bigger plans for the character himself, but if a new actor couldn't bring again that mystery and gravitas that he could to the role, I would be worried it wouldn't honor him as well as they would hope for. And while the story for him clearly was not complete, I wonder if they can carry on his story through Shin. Now, they teased this initially about half an hour ago. It's late on a Tuesday night, and I was getting ready to do a video, and then Shin came up. So we're going to look at her in just a moment, because from the back here, her armor plating looks really good as well. I'm happy, honestly, that they gave us sculpted hair. I was a little bit worried we were going to get like kind of, the Scarlett Johansson or the Black Widow, like white Barbie hair look, and I really didn't want that. And honestly, Artisan, I don't want to necessarily pay for that many Artisan figures. Overall, I think the price is a little bit high. I don't want to worry about having to style my character's hair. So yeah, I'm not interested. The depth in Baylan's sculpted hair is really good though. Like, look at the texturing there. I think that's really nicely done. Very happy about that. Now, I'm also looking at his belt there, and I'm seeing there's kind of an indentation in the belt. I wonder if this is going to be leather. Is it going to be pleather? For pleather, I'd be a little bit worried about degradation, I'm not going to lie, because that indentation, or that, I want to call it battle damage look there, looks like it may actually structurally impact the material itself. And so if there was a little degradation, I'd be worried it would fail even faster. If it's leather, I wonder if they can do that better or make it more durable. Like, it's hard to know. There's no indication, at least as of right now, what those materials are. But he does have that kind of jumpsuit material underneath his armor, similar to what we've seen on, I think, Mandalorian is probably the closest comparison that I can draw for it anyways. I think with the hood up, I think that's going to be a really cool look, especially in people's displays. I like that you can hang his saber hilt right on his belt there, like some of the other figures we've had in the past. I also really like his shroud or cape with the hood, just the look of it. I think the material choice looks okay. It does look like there's some decent battle damage on it, maybe some fraying at the bottom. It sits on the character relatively nicely. I do wonder if it's going to drape, or if there'll be a bit of a wire in there where you can kind of style it down. Hoping for the wire for sure. But if you don't like that look, you can also obviously take it off like you're seeing here, which I do appreciate, especially, you want to have multiple looks for these characters, right? I really like that kind of tealy green color that stands out. Again, it's kind of like road worn, a little battle damaged, a little bit like just degraded it looks almost, but more green than I remember from the show. It makes me want to go back and rewatch his scenes to see if that popped as much as it is kind of here for the figure. For me, I think the head sculpt is really what pops on this guy, especially. And I do think that it's a great representation of both his character, but also, paying tribute to the actor. I wasn't totally happy with the Chadwick Boseman resculpt that they did for the original Black Panther suit last year. It was a good sculpt, but it wasn't like a 10 out of 10. Would I say this is a 10 out of 10? No, but I would definitely give it like a 9 to 9.5. I honestly think it's a pretty damn strong sculpt and likeness to Ray Stevenson there. So bravo Hot Toys on this one for sure. I am very happy with what I'm seeing. Obviously a little bit of Photoshop magic here. I don't think this lightsaber is going to be this bright, just like we've seen in the past. I'll be curious to see if it's USB. I like his ring on his glove hand actually there. That's cool. Just noticed that. I also really like kind of what it almost looks like that rope texturing on that front chest plate. Really, really nice. The hood doesn't look like it sits well in this picture, but I think probably even with a little bit of blue tack, you can kind of futz it down a little bit. Also with the sculpted hair underneath, that's going to pop it up a little bit. Might even just be the angle. I bet like if you were looking at this a little bit more front facing, it would sit a little bit flatter there. So I think that's really cool. Clearly him faced up against Ahsoka, which I really liked that scene because it, in a really cool way, it showed his fighting prowess and his style. He had a very different lightsaber technique than what I've seen with some of the other Jedi style characters in the past. So that for me was cool. I thought he was badass in that scene, and he won that fight. I mean, he kind of kicked Ahsoka's ass in that scene. And considering it was her show, she got her ass kicked a little bit too much, I think, honestly, for my personal take. But at the same time, that scene also got her to see Anakin kind of in that afterlife scene. Hopefully that's not too spoilerific at this point. It says here, detailed costume with meticulous fabric section. And here at the end, the last takeaway that I've got here, oh, it does look like it's USB. LED lightsaber powered by USB. So that answered my own question there. Love to see it. And it does look like a split cut boot design as well for the boots. So guys, I think Baylan here is an absolute win. Now, let's take a look at Shin. So with her being up on the screen, I think this is not as strong as I was hoping. That's just my initial gut reaction. Do I think it's beautiful? Yes. Do I think they captured the majority of this actress's unique look? Definitely. But there is a bigger variation for me here in the likeness than there was with the Baylan character. I think that they did a pretty good job with her hair. I feel like it was whiter in the show. In fact, I want to pull this up as well. Let me see here. I do think... So yeah, her hair looks like it was a little bit more blonde. I'm not going to lie. The nose was a little bit more tilted up, in my opinion, for the character. I do think that they captured her moles in a weird way pretty well, not gonna lie. There's a roundness to her eyes as well that I feel like they're not capturing very well. Her eyelids are really big in person here, it looks like. Even just with some of the other shots, I can see it, but to me it's still closer to an 8, 8.5. It's not quite the 9 or 9.5 that I'm giving Baylan, at least not from these initial photos. I think that it's close, but not quite. But again, I think, you know, people are going to be really, really excited just to see this in their collection, which is that enough of a reason to not buy the character? Absolutely not. This looks phenomenal, and her paired up with Baylan, you're going to know 100% who this is, of course, supposed to be. I really liked the actress. Now, the picture down here actually on the bottom left under the main head sculpt, I actually think that looks more like her, kind of in a smaller figure form. So it's weird to me that the likeness is strong in some photos and not as strong in others. I'd be curious, guys, let me know what you think of her likeness here. The outfit looks great. Jedi robe looks great. I call it a Jedi robe, but it's not clearly more of a mercenary robe, let's be honest. I like her armor plating. They're clearly very tarnished. Looks really good. Definitely some posability options there, which I also really like. I like that she's got the braid on the hair sculpt there. Now, I'd be curious, guys, because I mentioned it with the Baylan portion. I'm kind of happy this isn't rooting. I'm not going to lie. I like the fact that it's sculpted hair, but it does change the ability to have posability as well, of course. You're not going to get as much posability. It does come with that rolling eye system for her as well, which again, I think should be really just standard with all figures going forward. So I'm happy with that. And here we go, having them together in the display, what it could look like for you. And I think that looks really, really good. Really, really strong. She looks more like a figure to me, though, in this picture especially, than he does. Is that just me? Is it like a Photoshop thing? It's weird. He looks more real than she does. And maybe it's just because her hair is longer, clearly a little bit more on the plastic side. Again, I wonder if with some posing magic there and some lighting, that would really, really change and bring her to life. Because here, she looks a lot more real, in my opinion. Look at the face. That looks really, really good there. I'm happy with it overall, and again, another character with that orange lightsaber, which is USB, confirmed by that first photo showing everything. The posability at the wrist does look better with that gauntlet than it will be for Baylan. I'm confident of that. I also really like her lightsaber hilt. I think it's a really unique piece. I like that these both, they have kind of that knight look, like a knight in shining armor kind of look, right, to them. Both Balin and Shin, I like that they have those plating on their arms and everything. Like, they're ready to go into battle. They're clearly mercenaries here in the show. And again, I understood Balin's motivation. She clearly really looks up to him and respects him as her master. And so with him being gone, will that derail her? I wonder what that will mean if he, as a character, doesn't come back, especially after the passing of Rey, unfortunately. Now, with the hood up, again, same issue that I felt like with Balin there. It's a little high set, not the end of the world. Again, I think you could probably stick it down with some blue tack or something along those lines, just to keep it more in place, at least. This looks good, though. I mean, it really, really does. You know who it's supposed to be. Again, I'm a little critical on the eyelid size. I know that seems like such a weird nitpick, but it's kind of characteristic of that actress, and so I'm surprised that they've made her eyelids so thin. It changes her eye shape for sure. She has a bit of more of a cat's eye shape here in the figure, but then there are images like this that sell me on it a little bit more. So I'm a little bit conflicted with this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious to see what the community has to say about it. I think overall, the love for the character here wins for me. That's really what wins. I have characters in my collection that when I initially saw blogger release photos, people hated on, like the Endgame Loki, the newest Endgame Loki. You know, his slick back hair, it didn't really look like Tom Hiddleston in the pictures, but as soon as I put him in my display, I actually put his like mouthpiece over his mouth. I really see Tom in that sculpt now. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it over my screen. So I'm having a feeling this is going to be the exact same way. And either way, she's a beautiful powerhouse. I loved her fight scenes with Ahsoka. Some of the passion she had in her eyes and everything was so cool. So yeah, really happy to see that. She looks a little surprised actually in this, like, oh, you fly? What the heck? That's a good picture. I like that one. Yeah, really, really cool. Detailed costume, meticulous fabric section, again, for posability, and that flight suit underneath. I think that's going to be pretty strong. Am I most excited for her or for Balin? I would say I'm most excited for Balin, but you cannot have Balin without Shin, right? Like, for me, I just don't think you can. And again, seeing the posing and the lighting here on that left figure here, down in the bottom right-hand corner on the left side, I think it does really look like Shin Hati in that section. So I'm a little conflicted on the likeness. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Let's keep it positive, I mean, for the most part, because this is an exciting day. It's an exciting day to be a Star Wars fan. It's an exciting day to be a fan of these two characters. I'm so happy that Hot Toys got a chance to make these. I'm so happy that with Ray Stevenson, we got a chance to see his character come to life in figure form in our collections, so that we can not only pay some tribute to our love for the character, but of course also the actor himself. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are on both these characters in the comments below if you can. If you liked the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.